Be with us Sunday when Nick Nolte and Matt Davis turn the NFL upside down in the lighthearted drama, North Dallas 40.
The man who shot President Reagan may have suffered brain damage yesterday while trying to kill himself. We'll have that story next on our Channel 2 News.
Hawaii, our pride is showing. There's more of everything you love in Hawaii. Every day we're gonna show our style, laugh and sing and share a smile. We're proud to bring this world to you. Proud is what we're really all about. TV2, our pride is showing.
This is KHON Channel 2, Honolulu, Hawaii. The Channel 2 News is next.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Honolulu Federal Savings. For the latest interest rates, call the Hon Fed Savers Hotline, 546-5205.
In the headlines tonight, John Hinckley Jr. may have suffered brain damage from yesterday's suicide attempt. The AFL-CIO president isn't happy with the Reagan administration. And Hanauma Bay's commercial enterprises get a reprieve.
The Channel 2 News at 10 with Joe Moore and Les Kiter.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us this Monday night. John Hinckley Jr. may be in no shape to go to trial in January for the shooting of President Reagan. Hinckley is reported to be in very serious condition from a weekend suicide attempt. Carl Stern reports.
Hinckley is recovering at the base hospital at Fort Meade, Maryland, but his condition seems to be more serious than was originally reported. He will not be returning tonight to the stockade where he had been housed. His condition could affect his forthcoming trial. Marshals spotted him hanging from a rolled-up Army field jacket he attached to window bars. He apparently had stuffed cardboard into the lock on his cell and the door wouldn't open. Marshals ran outside, upended a weightlifting table, and standing on it, using a knife grabbed from the kitchen, reached through to cut the jacket. It still took another half hour to reach him, though, as base firemen used a hydraulic bolt cutter to get into the cell. He was taken to the hospital, half conscious but breathing. A Justice Department statement said Hinckley received oxygen and a breathing tube, and that his only known injury was to his neck muscles. Government officials fear there may have been some neurological damage that could affect Hinckley's ability to defend himself at the trial, scheduled to begin January 4th. If severe enough, it could make a trial impossible. At a minimum, this latest incident puts a dent in the prosecution contention that there's nothing seriously wrong with Hinckley. Carl Stern, NBC News, Washington.
Meanwhile, the man who killed Robert Kennedy will not be getting out on parole in 1984. The California Board of Prison Terms said today there's evidence that Sirhan had threatened the life of Senator Edward Kennedy, and his eligibility for parole will be delayed. There was another fatal shooting in California today that apparently could have been a major tragedy. Witnesses said a man with a rifle was headed for the student union at Cal State Los Angeles. He shot and gravely wounded a woman student before he was confronted by security guards. Police were called, and the assailant was himself fatally wounded, but not before firing at least one more blast. Only the one victim was reported, however. Mexico City officials report they expect the death toll to climb from a tragedy yesterday. At least 4 dozen people died when a stand at a bull ring collapsed. Apparently, the stand was overloaded with people anxious to get free gifts. Officials said a political candidate was giving away big prizes, including appliances. Here in Hawaii, a shocking story of a different kind. 2 women are being held by Maui police tonight while a child clings to life at Maui Hospital. Police said the boy, 2.5 years old, has severe head injuries, bruises, and burns. They do not expect him to live. His 4-year-old brother is in better shape, but bruised and burned also. Police have picked up their stepmother and another woman, and 2 stepsisters, including a 2-week-old child, are in protective custody. Police said they were called by neighbors yesterday. The boy's father is on his way to Maui from Arizona, where he's been working. The others apparently moved to Maui about 6 weeks ago. All the children are under 5 years old. Crime in Hawaii was one of the topics mentioned last week to Governor Ariyoshi when he went to New York on a public relations tour.
crime was a matter that came up with a number of other people, and I indicated that we were very concerned about that, and I told them that we could have done one of two things. So we could have tried to make a PR thing out of that, or attempt to deal with the problem of crime, and I told them that we opted for the latter. I told them about the meetings that we had, indicated how many things that we were trying to do to bring about some measure of control over crime.
The governor said he told New Yorkers Hawaii's crime problems were exaggerated to start and that the crime rate is lessening. David Lake was given a mandatory life sentence today for the murder of a Waianae bartender. Judge Marie Milk said Lake will have to spend at least 10 years in prison before he is eligible for parole. A 40-year-old parolee shot and killed Ernest Amona in May after an argument over a bar tab. AFL-CIO President Lane Kirkland opened his organization's 100th anniversary celebration today, not with joy, but with scorn and ridicule. His target, the Reagan administration, in the form of David Stockman.
He was the original interior decorator of this economic house of ill repute. Now that the sirens are sounding and the bust is due, he has his story ready. He only played the piano in the parlor. He never knew what was going on upstairs.
A little harsh, Lane. His attack did not stop Kirkland from accepting an olive branch from the administration. He agreed to meet with President Reagan next month. Hawaii labor unions were talking to the Honolulu administration today. Tomorrow morning, the mayor will say what she plans to do about the development plan passed by City Council. Today, a coalition of Honolulu business and union leaders asked the mayor to be reasonable.
We ask that the mayor not veto the plans and thereby leave the community without any plans. We trust that she will consider the implications of her actions if she should veto the plans, because the absence of a plan will cause more costly delays and inflict increasingly severe damage to our fragile island economy.
We have a 33% unemployment rate on Oahu alone, and a 33% statewide unemployment rate. And these people gotta find someplace to work. And I don't think that government, by rules and regulations, to stop people from giving people an opportunity to have a decent job and earn a decent living.
Kupau was talking about carpenters when he referred to a 33% unemployment rate. The coalition said it isn't happy with the plans, but they're better than nothing. When our Channel 2 News continues, dive and tour operators at Hanauma Bay get a reprieve, and so do the first Christmas trees for Hawaii this year.
The ring of fine French lead crystal continues at Honolulu Federal Savings with the arrival of sparkling crystal accessories. They're available at very special prices when you deposit a minimum of $100. Honfed's French lead crystal accessories. Sounds like a beautiful idea.
Honolulu Federal's new All Savers certificate could deliver the highest yield you've ever earned. Up to $2,000 tax-free interest on a joint return, fully insured. And only at HonFed, your tax-free investment also qualifies you for our elegant French lead crystal premium offer. Only HonFed offers tax-free savings and a range of services unsurpassed in convenience. There's no need to go anywhere else. Come to HonFed. It's a better way to bank.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Honolulu Federal Savings. For the latest interest rates, call the HonFed Savers Hotline, 546-5205.
Lunch with the Queen is a truly Hawaiian delight in the beautiful Garden Lanai of the Queen Kapiolani. A feast fit for royalty. Laulaus, kalua pig, lomi salmon, island favorites like the songs of Auntie Leimomi, and all for only $6. Served daily except Sunday. And for a memorable evening, the Queen recommends prime rib at her international smorgasbord buffet, nightly except Friday, in a royal setting to suit your good taste. Queen Kapiolani, Kapahulu, validated parking.
Honolulu police and firefighters are still on the scene of a fire at Hotel and Smith Streets. That fire broke out about 9:30 tonight at the Aloha Bathhouse. Most of the flame was confined to a room on the second floor, but heavy smoke filled the downtown area. People in the building were evacuated. No one was believed to be injured. Police put out an all-points bulletin for a man seen leaving the area just after this fire broke out. But beyond that, there are few details at this hour. The blaze was put under control less than half an hour ago. Fire and police investigators have been called to the scene to determine how the fire started. Again, this fire breaking out about 9:30 tonight at the Aloha Bathhouse, Hotel and Smith Streets in downtown Honolulu. The ban against commercial enterprise at Hanauma Bay has been halted by a court. However, the restraining order did not come in time to stop citations being issued. Candy Fleece reports.
The vice president of Dan's Dive Shop was the first tour operator to be cited. His company admits it has a trained staff of employees to provide beach picnic events at Hanauma Bay. Stanley Suyat, an attorney for the city, says that practice is illegal. At 3:30 this afternoon, both sides went to court. Dan's Dive Shop and two other tour groups, Inoa Tours and Polynesian Adventure Tours, asked Judge Toshimi Sorotani to keep the city from citing or arresting them for a few more weeks until the ordinance can be interpreted by the court. All three tour groups say no money actually changes hands at the beach. Inoa and Polynesian Adventure Tours do not serve lunch at the bay. They just bring visitors to swim. The judge granted the request.
The terms, as I understand them, is that we the city, would withdraw our personnel from the beach park area and temporarily restrain from enforcing the law.
A hearing on the legality of the Hanauma Bay tours will be held December 2nd. Dan's Dive Shop must still go to court on the citation received this morning. Candy Fleece, Channel 2 News.
Governor Ariyoshi stepped into the Big Island hospital situation today. For one thing, he said he's hiring 4 contract nurses for Kona Hospital, but he admitted it is not a great solution to the crisis.
The problem really is the unavailability of the people that we want to hire. We have a nursing shortage in Kona, we have a nursing shortage in Hilo, we have a nursing shortage on Maui, Kauai, on this island. We have a nursing shortage in the state, we have one in our country. And so it's a nationwide problem that we have a shortage of nursing.
But in the short run, you have had to go to hiring contract nurses.
That's in a very short run. Now that I want to even look at that too. I'm not satisfied that that's the total solution, even in the short run. We may be creating the very kind of problem that we're trying to avoid.
The governor also said the state will spend $30 million for a new acute care hospital at Hilo. He said it's needed because the existing Hilo hospital is obsolete. The new hospital will handle 146 patients. The old hospital will be used for long-term and psychiatric care. Richard Barreca, Channel 2 News.
The chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee says the state should hold off on airport construction. State Senator Mary George said the airports aren't making as much money as expected. She asked the governor today to delay the $450 million construction program until the legislature can look over the airport's budget. Senator George noted that it is the airlines that finance most of the airport improvements, but Hawaiian Airlines reports more than $3 million in losses for the third quarter this year. The company blames the drop in reduced passenger traffic from last year, high interest rates, and increasing promotion costs to compete in the market. The airline that started the fare war here in Hawaii is apparently doing well. Mid-Pacific Airlines announced today that it will start flights to the Big Island. On January 15th, MidPac will fly 5 9-stops to Kona, and flights to Hilo will start 2 weeks later. Hawaii's sugar companies are limping through this year, the worst ever for them. They project losses of over $110 million. Tonight, Barbara Tanabe takes a look at the crop that used to be called King Cane.
Sugar is the single most important crop in Hawaii. Almost 3/4 of the state's agricultural land goes to sugarcane. And when prices are up, like last year, profits are high. The 14 plantations in the state together made over $200 million. But the situation this year
severely depressed, I think is a fair statement.
It's, say, 3 or 4 times worse than the last time we had losses, which was 1976. So it's a very tough year for sugar operations.
Fellows is president of Amfac Sugar, the largest producer of sugar cane in Hawaii, and the firm that will lose the most growing cane this year, $40 million. Growers are asking Congress for help. There are 125 nations that produce sugar, and the United States is the only major country that does not regulate its industry. American growers want Congress to support the prices they will get to protect them from severe losses. They say the support is vital to consumers as well as growers.
The domestic industry produces enough sugar in relation to the world market so that if the domestic United States industry goes down, or even a significant portion of it goes down, the world is going to have a shortage. And if the world has a shortage, the price is going to go up, and the U.S. consumer and every other consumer presumably is going to get hurt.
Barbara Tanabe, Channel 2 News.
Well, if you think consumers may have a problem with sugar, wait till you hear what almost happened to our Christmas trees. The first shipment was to be opened this morning, and then agriculture officials found bugs in them. But our intrepid reporter Mary Zanakis marched herself right over to the lab to find out what kind of bugs they were.
It appears to be an insect in the family Navidae in the genus Nabis, which these are predaceous insects, which would mean that on the whole it should be a beneficial insect.
Beneficial because the insect preys on other insects and therefore is not harmful to Hawaii's produce.
It's 10 minutes after 1 right now, and Supervisor Doug Lapilio just got the word that the trees can come out of quarantine. The bug was not destructive.
The trees you see here are the first to arrive in Hawaii. They are all for commercial purposes. The Christmas trees for residents are due to arrive on Thanksgiving Day and on December 1st. There will be 2 major shipments, totaling about 120,000 trees. Mary Zanakis, Channel 2 News.
One thing we don't need in our Christmas trees, it's the old genus Nabis provaceus ratus bug. No, sir. And our Channel 2 News continues a search for explosives in London. And in San Francisco, $1,000 opera tickets.
Well, you should see us now. We'd like to take a bow. 'Cause when it comes to pleasing people, we know how. We like the folks who fly to sea for a fact. The way our first-rate service will make them come back. All we can say is, wow, you ought to see us now. The Continental Airline taught the others how. One and airline, holy cow. We're Continental and you should see us. You should see us now.
What's the matter, Gertie? Your denture's slipping up. When you wear dentures, there's nothing funny about loose spots.
Let Fix-It-Dent help fix your loose spots. Fix-It-Dent spreads evenly, filling those tiny gaps between dentures and gums with ingredients that give added dimension to holding.
Bertha's back. She's no problem now. Neither are my loose spots. Oh.
Today's Fix-It-Dent helps fix loose spots. Many women around the world look younger than they are.
I'm Barbara Bean, and I'm 34.
Mireille Sonin, 42.
Anne-Marie Cagrin, 37.
These women share the secret you know as oil of Olay. Each drop is similar to the fluids abundant in younger skin and penetrates quickly, easing dryness to help your skin look softer and smoother.
Anita West, I'm 45.
Share the secret of oil of Olay. It can help you look younger, too.
Liberty House invites you to keep time with some very prestigious watchmakers, like Chopard, classics by Cartier, the inimitable Gucci, world-renowned Baum and Mercier, elegant Piaget, and an exquisite collection by Patrick Philippe. Come, keep time with the best. Prestigious timepieces from the fine jewelry department at Liberty House.
Scotland Yard sealed all exits to London tonight. They're looking for 500 pounds of explosives believed hidden by the Irish Republican Army. The roadblocks climaxed today that began with a row in Parliament over the death of Reverend Robert Bradford, a Protestant member of Parliament.
In Parliament today, government leaders paid tribute to Bradford and expressed concern about a renewed cycle of violence exploding into civil war. Northern Ireland Secretary James Pryor urged Protestants and Catholics to remain calm and work within the law. He was interrupted by the Reverend Ian Paisley, a radical Protestant leader, and two other members of Parliament from Northern Ireland. The trio shouted from a gallery, denouncing the government's security measures in the north, causing a disturbance unlike any seen here for a generation. Parliament voted to suspend the three for 5 days, in itself a most unusual occurrence. Other Protestant leaders have threatened to set up their own vigilante forces if more British troops aren't sent to Northern Ireland. And in England, authorities stepped up their own security operations to thwart an expected bombing outbreak by the IRA. Police in several cities began searching abandoned buildings and tens of thousands of storage facilities for explosives. Steve Mallory, NBC News, London.
Not in the memory of most people has it cost $1,200 for a couple to see an opera. But in San Francisco, it happened with a man who has made opera a happening.
Luciano Pavarotti singing the role of Radames in the opera Aida for the first time, an event long sold out in this city.
A lot of people were willing to pay top dollar for tickets to Aida, and a lot of people were willing to sell. In a classified section of the paper, 72 ads for tickets, ranging up to $1,200 a pair.
Eric Holberg never thought he'd see the day he could sell his seats for $700.
No, I didn't. But if there are people out there who are crazy enough to want to see the show that badly, who are willing to pay that much money, then I'm perfectly willing to make them happy.
Some people camped out for 24 hours to get a few standing room tickets. One woman described that kind of devotion.
Crazy. But I tried sanity and found it an excruciating bore, so I'm crazy.
But the tenor was more concerned with the tough role than tickets.
Is, I think, one of the most difficult aria in the Italian repertoire, and even one of the most demanding roles because it goes up and down.
Those ups and downs went far beyond the opera house, first to a television van outside, and then from the darkened control room, the opera was carried live to Europe. Down the street, there was another first, a live closed-circuit telecast for another 3,000 fans at $5 to $15 a ticket. That is the power of the tenor who filled the screen at the Municipal Auditorium and the Opera House.
You know, it just came to me who Pavarotti looks like. Any of you folks out there ever see our cameraman, George Cabral Jr.? Huh? Is that George or is that George? It is, I'm telling you. That's enough. He could... George is almost that well paid, too. But there also is grief in the entertainment world tonight. 63-year-old William Holden was found dead in his apartment today. Death was apparently from natural causes. He'd been dead nearly a week. His death ends some 4 decades of stardom. We have more from Heidi Schulman.
It was 1939, the film Golden Boy, and William Holden became a star. For more than 40 years, Holden was the popular leading man who usually played the all-American good guy. An exception was his role opposite Gloria Swanson in Sunset Boulevard. In 1953, Stalag 17 won him an Oscar.
He's a Nazi, Price is. For all I know, his name is Preisinger or Price Hopper.
Stalag 17 was followed by Love is a Many Splendored Thing, Picnic in 1955, and Bridge on the River Kwai. A close friend of fellow actor Ronald Reagan, Holden was best man at the Reagan wedding, but he had a second life halfway around the world from Hollywood in Africa. For more than 20 years at his Mount Kenya game ranch, Holden worked to preserve the animals of the plain from extinction at the hands of hunters.
Words fail me when I try to describe what the feeling of being here and in our particular case involved with conservation and wildlife. It's just something that has to be experienced.
Les Kiter has sports in just a minute, but Les, you also work with that man, William Holden, didn't you?
A fleeting association with Bill Holden in the late 60s. He and John Wayne, the late Duke Wayne, made a movie called The Horse Soldier, Civil War story. And it's the only time in sports history that a Hollywood movie sponsored a national fight broadcast. That was the heavyweight championship at Yankee Stadium between Floyd Patterson, then champion, and Ingemar Johansson, who dethroned him that night. And John Wayne and William Holden sat next to us at ringside, and we talked to them between rounds about the movie. And after the fight, Bill Holden was just awed by Ingemar Johansson's right hand. Kept saying, oh, I've never seen a right hand like that. It was a brief association, but a warm one I shall always remember.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. And Les is going to be back, as I say, with sports in just a minute, including highlights from tonight's game.
The Wine Institute of New England is one of the largest wine tasting schools in the world. Its founder, Robert Valcuse, recently compared two California rosés.
For me, the best way to judge wine is side by side. That's how I compared Taylor California Cellars and Parmesan Rosé. I found the Taylor California Cellars to have better color, better flavor. A great wine to serve with ham or chicken, much better than Parmesan.
Taylor California Cellars, a better rosé. Judge for yourself.
This diesel engine is what makes the Volkswagen Rabbit and Pickup the best mileage 81 car and truck in America. But right now, make your best deal on either one. And Volkswagen of America will mail you a check for the suggested retail price of the diesel engine option. What that really means is you get a diesel at no extra cost. So you can save hundreds of dollars now and hundreds of dollars a year on fuel down the road if you get to your Volkswagen dealer by December 31st.
Light up your Christmas with Crystal. Lighting Associates offers you 20 to 50% savings on every Crystal fixture and chandelier in stock. Add the magical sparkle of Crystal to any room in your home and save 20 to 50% now through November 21st. We are Lighting Associates, experts in residential and commercial lighting.
Well, Les, I got to tell you, I don't understand how these folks who wager for a living on pro sports are making it during this football season.
It's getting tougher every Sunday. No longer is it coming, friends. It has arrived. And for the longtime losers and underdogs and supporters of hopelessly lost causes in pro football, your day is here. It's called parity. That old cliche on any given day has happened in the NFL. Tonight in the Seattle Kingdome, those downtrodden Seahawks, who had never, ever beaten San Diego in a regular season game, embarrassed the Chargers 44-23. They forced 4 turnovers, scored after every one, and the Seahawks' rout dealt a crushing blow to the Chargers' playoff hopes. It was a great night for the fans in Seattle, however. Jim Zorn, their southpaw passer, hit Dornick here. This is an 81-yard play, and it came right after the Seahawks had stopped the Chargers 4 times inside the 4-yard line. That made the score 31-17, just when it looked like the Chargers were going to tie the score. They even had a fake field goal where the holder, Zorn, shoveled the ball out to Sherman Smith, and he went 18 yards for another touchdown. Everything they did embarrassed the Chargers, even had Jack Patera smiling, which was a first in Seattle. Last year's national champion Georgia Bulldogs are apparently headed for the Sugar Bowl on New Year's night. They'll be the host team representing the Southeastern Conference. With this year's current #1 team, Pittsburgh, the best bet to get the other Sugar invite, the New Orleans game looms as a national title affair. The other Southeastern co-leader, Alabama, who could tie with a win over Auburn, seems headed for a Cotton Bowl berth now against the Southwestern champion. With 3 big Sundays still to come in the NFL, several teams are suffering acute quarterback problems tonight. Both New York teams are without quarterbacks. The Giants' Phil Simms will miss the rest of the season. He suffered a separated shoulder. And both Jet quarterbacks are out. Richard Todd with a fractured rib and his backup Pat Ryan with a sprained ankle. Craig Morton of Denver is doubtful for this week. Dan Pastorini of the Rams has a concussion. Kenny Staver, who has been hurting, is back as starter at Houston. And the man who replaced him yesterday, John Reeves, was fired today, released by that ball club. BYU's victory over the UH on Saturday enabled two former local prep stars to enjoy a happy homecoming. Dave Wiggins reports.
For both Junior Filiunga and Brad and I, former Kahuku High stars, now senior performers for BYU, Saturday's win over the UH marked the end of a long journey, each in a different way. To Anai, it was the climax to a 6-year odyssey, one that saw him begin at the UH, then go on a Mormon mission to Canada for 2 years before transferring to BYU.
This win to me means, and coming home to play for the fans, means to me probably more than the next game or the championship or maybe even the Holiday Bowl for me personally.
If you had it to do all over again, what would you do?
Well, I would probably, I don't know, it'd be hard to say right now. It's a personal thing, you know, and my religious beliefs did enter into the decision. But if I was island-born and I had desires to stay home, I'd stay home.
Religion aside.
Yeah, that's right.
For Filiunga, this past year must have seemed like 6 years. A week before BYU was to play the UH last year, Filiunga punched a referee and was suspended for the season. His has been a journey back from disgrace.
I'm a good guy, you know. I'm not what people think I am, you know. When that incident happened, I couldn't believe it. People kept talking about it, you know. I go to a restaurant with my wife and stuff, and they ask me, hey, what's that Filiunga do that with the bad temper, you know? It hurts, you know, it really hurts. But this year I was looking forward for it, and I'm excited.
Filiunga feels he has redeemed himself this season.
You learn from your mistake and you improve on it instead of going back to it, you know. It makes you more better, you know, and more control and everything. Now, everything's gone. I'm looking for the future, you know. I'm not looking for the past anymore.
2 journeys, one long, the other gut-wrenching. Both, it seems, successfully completed. Dave Wiggins, Channel 2 Sports.
This final sports short tonight, those rip-roaring UH Rainbow Wahinis, #1 Division I volleyball team in all America, flew home today from a 9-day road trip. Their road record, 14-1, and it included 2 tournaments. They're now 32-1 on the season. Next on the schedule, Tuesday and Wednesday, here against San Diego State. That is some team.
Certainly is. Another storm is buffeting the northern Pacific coast tonight. However, it's not as bad as storms this weekend that killed 15 people in 2 states. Another 8 people are missing. Damages are at $9 million and counting. Thousands of homes are still without power. Whole marinas and small airports were reported destroyed. Thankfully, in Hawaii, it is not that bad, not nearly that bad, but we can expect some showers tonight with partly sunny skies tomorrow. It's going to be a bit chilly this evening, lows in the mid-60s, trades 10 to 15 miles per hour. Finally tonight, city officials in Tucson, Arizona decided the city's nickname, Old Pueblo, just didn't have enough pizzazz like Big Apple or Tinseltown. So they had a contest to come up with a new nickname. Well, the contest is over. Entries included things like Baked Apple, Whole Enchilada, and Warm and Friendly City. The winning name was submitted by one Philip E. Johnson, who said he thought of it while sunbathing. From now on, folks, Tucson will be known as the Sunshine Factory. Maybe only by Philip E. Johnson, but that's the new official nickname of Tucson. Kind of like the Whole Enchilada myself, but it's tough to call it that, I guess. That's our news this Monday night. Les and I will be back again at 6 o'clock tomorrow with a full report on Hawaii's news and sports. Today being the birthday of King David Kalakaua, we leave you tonight with today's ceremony of the Royal Guard at Iolani Palace.
Stay tuned now for MASH, next on Channel 2.
You made it possible. Thanks to you, Hawaii, Inter-Island Auto Painting is opening the doors to a new and bigger second location at 777 Kapiolani. Our price is only $179.95 for a complete professional paint job. $179.95 for any size car. Get the best paint job in town. Call me, Oliver, at Inter-Island Auto Painting, now at 2 convenient locations, 777 Kapiolani and in Aiea behind Cutter Ford.
I'm a Shell Auto Care dealer, and I'm going to give you something in writing.
I'm a Shell Auto Care dealer, and I'm going to give you something in writing.
When a Shell Auto Care dealer works on your car, you know he wants to do it right, because he gives you a written limited warranty good for 90 days or 4,000 miles. A warranty that backs his work in writing. That's the clincher. At Shell Auto Care, another good reason to come to Shell for answers.
Next on Entertainment Tonight, join Hollywood's hottest couple, Dudley Moore and Susan Anton, for an outrageously good time.
I'm now a sex symbol. I thought it was over my phrase.
Well, you get a lot in the symbol, honey.
It's no-holds-barred fun.
Excuse me. Let's go now and do some mauling.
You haven't seen anything like what we've got for you on Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment Tonight, tomorrow at 6:30 on Channel 2.
In New York, known for its fine dining, we're at world-famous Tavern on the Green restaurant. Tonight, we're secretly replacing the fine coffee they normally serve with rich, dark, sparkling Folgers Crystal. Let's watch.
Truly excellent cup of coffee.
Real good.
I like it. It's a rich flavor.
It's Folgers Crystal.
Really? Excellent. I'll buy it.
Folgers Crystal. Coffee rich enough to be served in America's finest restaurants.
You feel so good it shows. This week only at the Marsh Company, Sealy's popular Rest Classic mattresses are at special sale prices. Designed by orthopedic surgeons to ensure maximum comfort and support, this week we're offering low prices on all twin, full, queen, and king-size Rest Classic mattresses. And we'll give you a free bed frame with every mattress and box spring. Another exciting offer from the Marsh Company.
If you help us bust the bad guys, it's worth $1,000 to you. Nearly 3 out of 4 bank and savings and loan robbers have already been busted. And more than $13,000 in reward money has been given out. Call the confidential hotline, 538-3232, with information on these suspects. If your call leads to arrest and indictment, you get the $1,000. With your help, the bad guys are learning that some bars have no happy hours.
At Firestone Service Centers, our customers come in all shapes and sizes. Nothing too big, nothing too small. We service them all. This week's service offers. Firestone will rotate and computer spin balance all 4 wheels, only $19. Firestone will tune up most 4-cylinder engines with electronic ignition, $29. All our customers love our service. For car service you can trust, Firestone.
Start your day with Tom Brokaw, Jane Pauley, and Gene Shalit weekday mornings and wake up to what's happening today.
Weekday mornings at 6 on Channel 2.